Hey there, I'm Joshua Sheehan. Welcome to the RV Entrepreneur Podcast. The RV Entrepreneur is a community for RVers that are exploring ways to financially support themselves while living their RV life. And today we have the pleasure of talking with Jared and Sammi Creach. Jared and Sammi are full-time RVers who launched into full-time travel after building a life that would allow them to work from home. They travel with two of their kids, the third is currently serving in the U.S. military, and have two very different businesses that successfully run from the road. Sammi is a former RN, MSN, MBA, and left it all for a network marketing career that she's been running for almost a decade now. Jared enjoys working with his hands, so after they hit the road, they took a pause for him to become a certified RV technician, and he now runs a mobile RV tech business from wherever the family is traveling and adventuring. It was really cool to have this husband-wife duo on and talk about how they have two very different businesses. Sammi's is 100% online. Jared's is definitely in the real world. You can't work on RVs unless you're physically there in a campground where people are needing things to be fixed. And so it's really cool to talk to them and see how they balance almost two sides of the same entrepreneurial coin of getting their family out, adventuring, traveling, exploring, and coming about bringing in income and finding ways to add value to the community from two very different sides of entrepreneurship. And now we've only got a few short weeks until the RV Entrepreneur Roundtable in Montrose, Colorado, September 7th through 11th. If you haven't heard more about it or you're waiting to buy your tickets, make sure you get those by the end of the month. Go to the rventrepreneur.com/summit to get all the details. It's going to be an awesome event, and if you can join us, we'd love to have you. I think you're really going to enjoy the episode, but before we jump into that, let's take care of our sponsor. The RV Entrepreneur Podcast is brought to you in part by RV Life Pro. Perfect for every RVer, you can plan your camping trips with RV Life Trip Wizard, then use the RV Safe navigation with RV Life GPS and Campgrounds app. Both are included in RV Life Pro. Eliminate RV anxiety by knowing exactly where you'll camp, get fuel, and even grab lunch before you ever hit the road. RV Life has every campground, RV park, state park, and national park to fit your style. And you can plan your entire RV adventure, including fuel stops, rest areas, shopping, and entertainment. Go to rvlife.com and start your free 7-day trial or download the RV Life app from the App Store. Travel dreams made simple with RV Life. Hi, Jared and Sammi. Welcome to the RV Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm excited to have you guys here. We've almost got a twofer going on. You guys have both got businesses that you run on the road. Give me a brief overview of you, your family, and why you got on the road in the first place.
My name's Jared Creach. I tried talking my wife into this probably about four or five years ago, right? Pre-COVID, craziness of the world. And I could never convince her. We had our oldest, he was head of the Army, and she wasn't ready to do anything at that time and travel with him, being almost graduated from high school. So one day somebody called and asked to give an offer on our house. And Sammi said, "Yeah, what'd you say?" I said, nothing.
No, of course.
No way, right? And she said, well, maybe you should call him back. I said, what? So at that point in time, we started decluttering and getting the house ready to put on the market. And here we are on the road almost 2 years.
Somebody just found your phone number and called you up and said, hey, do you want to sell your house?
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. It was kind of weird, yeah.
It was a little weird, but kind of cool. Very serendipitous.
Right, yeah. That really is what got me thinking about, okay, our oldest was out of the house. Really, my last hang up was homeschooling. And we have right now, they're 9 and 6. But when we started, they were 7 and 5. So we had a first grader, and he actually never went back after spring break, and it kind of got thrown in my lap. So it was kind of one of those, we're just going to throw you in the deep end. And I'm like, wow, we survived. Okay, that was my last hang up. I think we can do this.
Absolutely. And I always kind of dreamt of doing the whole adventurous type of thing with my family. And we owned a trailer, we've had trailers since 2013. Mm-hmm. And we've had our current rig that we've had since 2016. So, we were very familiar with it. And I'd like to say an easy transition, but going from 2,700 square foot to 300 square foot, that's a huge change, right?
And so you said homeschooling was the last hang up for you guys. Were you guys doing things for income that could be transferred onto the road?
Yeah, actually, I had already left the nursing field. My background is RN, MSN, MBA, and I had my last job in corporate America was in nursing administration, but I did leave that in 2013 for an online business. I have actually been a brand ambassador for a gut health company for actually 9 years this month. In 2018, Jared decided it was time for him to join us at home. So he left his corporate job of 10 years at General Motors as well. So we had actually both already been home, and I'd already had a very successful brand ambassador business at that point. And the really cool part about hitting the road is it gave Jared the opportunity to find something he really enjoyed doing to create his own business for.
How did that work and how did it play out?
Almost the first year we were on the road, I was constantly helping folks with their rigs wherever we were throughout the country. And so I decided and saw that there was a need for mobile RV repair service, mobile techs about everywhere we went. And the availability almost everywhere was limited, or it took an extra long time for folks to get responses from individuals that provided the service. So last October, I went and got certified through RVTI to be a level 2 certified technician.
You saw a need and you filled it. All right, Sammi. So you said you've been building this business, or been working for this company and building the brand ambassador portion of this for 9 years. Who's the company? What do you do? And what does a normal week look like for you?
Sure. So the company is called Plexus Worldwide, and their basic focus is really gut health. It's root cause. It's, what is really behind maybe not sleeping well, not feeling well during the day, gut issues. There's a multitude of things I could go into, but it's really just about helping people feel better. And from that is where it really becomes my jam. I am all about the personal development that comes along with that comes along with building a business and being able to help people along that journey of, step by step to get to a better version of themselves. So that has really become what I do a lot. So I actually do a lot of education for myself. I have different groups I belong to where it's a lot of high performers just trying to share best practices. A lot of people will hear network marketing, which Plexus is a network marketing company. It's also called direct sales. Some call it social selling. It's definitely not what it was back in 1985. This is not your grandma's network marketing company. The problem that I find is so many people do it the wrong way. So my goal, my week is spent a lot in helping my leaders be better leaders and teaching our people how to share things the right way. I have probably 2 or 3 different group Zooms per week. I like to do coaching calls with people on my team that are doing the personal development, building their teams. And I like to set aside 2 to 3 hours of that per week. And then really it comes down to relationships and then me sharing what I have to offer, whether it's a product or an income opportunity with the people that I know in my network.
How long did it take for you to be able to create enough income through this that it was a possibility to even consider leaving your corporate job and or Jared leaving his and both of you with the family heading out on the road?
I would say I matched my nursing pay at the time back in 2013 in about 7 or 8 months. For us to be able to bring Jared home from his corporate job, it was about from start to finish 2 years. But I feel like it's such an individual thing. There's so many factors that can go into that. I also left the nursing field, so I wasn't working full-time with on-call administration duties. So I was able to focus on my family at home and also build my business without having to work it around another full-time job. So there's just so many factors that can go into that. So it's very individual, but that's the time frame I did it in.
So for all of the opportunities out there, why choose direct marketing and why choose Plexus out of the direct marketing opportunities?
Oh, that's a great question. There's so many different reasons that I love Plexus and the company. One of the biggest reasons for me is the community. We have this saying, and it's #OnePlexus. And a lot of other companies that I have had friends be a part of, there's so much internal competition. And our culture is really built on best practice and helping everyone do their best. And I think that's why it's such a good fit for me, because I am that person that if you are doing something to improve yourself, to improve your life, I'm going to be cheering you on the whole way. And we have our entire company has that culture. That is just the way that we want, regardless of what level you are, how long you've been in, It's just treating each other with respect and helping each other, lift each other up to whatever level it is you want to be. There's also those things that come into account, like, we travel. I don't have room for inventory. There is no inventory required. It's not based off sales quotas. It's not unilevel. It's not binary, which are different ways that compensation plans are set up. And ours is different to where you can come in and you can be a referral partner, or you can build a business. You have options, where sometimes I feel like there's a lot of pressure to one or the other. And we don't have that, where you can just be a happy customer or you can be a business builder. And to me, it's kind of a no-brainer. The business works because the products work. I came from a nursing field where we treated everything with medications or the nose treatments. And then whatever it was, the side effects from the medications, you take another medication for that side effect. And it really switched my view of root cause of what's going on in your body. So instead of working from the side of illness, it's working from the side of wellness. So that has been huge for me. And just knowing that the gut health portion of it really does change people's lives. And my motto, my tagline, however you want to say it, is when you feel better, you do better. And that's what these products do. And that's what I like to do, is help you feel better so then you can do better. And I'm going to walk you through every step of the way. The resources, everything that we get from corporate, you literally have a business handed to you on a silver platter. But the thing to me that really stands out is just the culture.
Is there a difference between someone working for Plexus that is working at home versus working on the road? Why is this fit a good fit for you and your family, being that you are traveling?
So that's a really great question, because you can make your business run any way you want to. When I first started out, I was really focused on a lot of in-person activities. And then as technology has changed, society has changed, e-commerce really has become the purchasing power of the future. Then online became so much more relevant. And so being able to connect over Zoom, over Google Hangouts, all the different ways that we can connect now, it really made it easy, because the biggest thing is my team, well, I should say my organization, the people that have joined me and people that have joined them all over the United States, were originally from Kansas City, Missouri. And I had a very, very small group of people there. But yet I had thousands of people on my team, and they were spread out all over the United States. So seeing everybody in person would happen at leaders retreats or conventions, things like that. So now with us traveling, it actually even gives me the opportunity to see people in person even more.
Very cool. Very cool. That's definitely something that you don't think about, is when you're growing a team in any sort of business, we're so globalized that oftentimes it's hard to get everybody together. But with a traveling lifestyle, you can go and say, hey, we're going to be in town for 3 weeks. You want to grab a drink?
Yeah.
And that's something that would have been a much bigger endeavor to do from Kansas City if you need to meet up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I even see some of my friends that I would go months without seeing, and we'll meet up somewhere in Florida or in Tennessee. It's just been bananas how we've ran into people along the way that we didn't even go see prior to.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. So, Sammi, you've got this entirely online, no product-based business. And then Jared says, I want to work on RVs, which definitely is, you're organizing schedules with people who need work. You need equipment to fix it. You need tools. Jared, talk to me a little bit about how that balance went of, hey, we just moved into this smaller house. It sounds like you didn't start going to training and doing this till after you're on the road. So I assume a lot of your stuff was either sold or packed up. How did you decide, I'm going to start working on RVs and get established after your training?
Basically, I had the majority of the tools required prior to, just because I was always that person that worked on their own stuff. I don't know. I probably spent $400 or $500 in specialty equipment and just overall organization of tools to be able to fit our lifestyle and going down the road, right? There's a lot of people that provide mobile tech services where they've got a van or a truck dedicated to going into an RV park, and they've got a full truck of tools, a good stack of inventory. Is where I had to condense everything down into priorities and also high hitters, and have the correct amount of tools. Number one, not to overweigh us, not to get us, have enough space for them, but also just have the correct tools to be able to do what's best by the customer.
What are you guys traveling in?
It is a Nitro 305 VL5 toy hauler. We've done quite a few renovations and different modifications to make it more livable for us and to do our thing. For the past year and a half, we toted around a golf cart, which was a rough thing for part of the travels, but it's 40 foot long. We pull it with our GMC truck, and it's been a great rig. Honestly, is that we've had very minimal things go wrong with it since we've owned it since 2016.
But if we do, I know a guy. So
that's right.
So then how does it work when you get to a site? I'm assuming you need the truck to then go to the clients. Do you take your tools out of the RV and put them in the truck, or is there room for them in the truck when you're hooked up with the fifth wheel?
Most of the time, I'll store most of my boxes inside of the trailer when we travel. And then I've got dedicated toolboxes that will go into the truck once we get to a location that I'm able to, most of the time, leave in the truck, and it's about a 50-50. What's in the truck is in there all the time. And then there's other parts that I'll just pull out my specialty tools and throw them in.
How have you guys handled marketing the mobile tech services? It sounds like Sammy's got a really good grasp on digital marketing. However, I assume that most of the stuff you're doing previously, Sammi, was not necessarily location based, but just general. Anywhere on the internet, we can talk and have a meeting. So moving around to different locations, obviously, Jared, you need to be in the same place as the client. How have you gone about marketing your services?
So marketing is very difficult in this industry of providing a service in a specific area, especially when there's sometimes where we'll travel every 2 to 3 months. We've made probably 5 or 6 moves. And then there's other months where we try to go for 2 or 3 months at a time. So that would be a little bit easier. But so one of the things that I've tried to optimize is Facebook locations and my website locations and search engines to optimize search words on my website to get us pushed into that location. The majority of my marketing and the way that people find out about us is badging on the truck and then dropping off business cards at the front office. A lot of the times they're more than willing to let you leave business cards at the front office and they'll promote it for you because there's always somebody asking for help.
How often have you run into situations where you get a call from a location you were at 3 months ago?
I've only had one occurrence that's happened in. I'll normally pick up all my business cards before I leave and then go in with some treats for the office, some cupcakes or something, just to show some appreciation for sending my services to customers.
Mm-hmm. And then, so you said marketing off of the truck. Do you guys have magnets or is it decaled? How are you doing branding on the truck?
Basically my logo with a magnetized sticker. I can pull on and off for when we're traveling and whatever else.
The biggest thing, honestly, is word of mouth. And because of his business, we have stopped moving quite as frequently. We try to stay a month at a time when we do go places, just because one job will usually lead to a repeat job for the same customer, or they've told their friend that was down the row or something like that. It's really word of mouth and having those magnets on the back of the truck and people just seeing it as they go by. We've had countless people stop. Oh, RV tech, huh? If it's just me outside, I'm like, nope, not at all. Not me. But I will happily give you my husband's card. So that and word of mouth has been tremendous.
Is there a typical amount of time that you're in a location before you start getting inquiries? I would assume that it's not the next day after you show up all the time. Maybe sometimes it is, but does it usually take a week?
No. I've had calls within the hour of arriving. I mean,
really?
not even being there. We've called ahead to let them know that When we confirm a reservation, I'll normally tell them, hey, I ask them if they have anybody in the park. And if they don't, then hey, I always offer to say, hey, I'm a certified mobile tech. If you have anybody that needs anything in the park, I'll be there. I offer a military discount along with normally no service calls when it's within the park.
Have you ever had a park tell you that you are not allowed to perform duties within their property?
Never had anybody tell me no. I've had a few, they definitely want to see your insurance information, which I'm covered on that. So that's the only requirement that I've had thus far.
Mm-hmm. Is there an organization or an insurance company that a lot of techs use that cover multiple states? Or do you have to go and find a new policy for every state that you enter?
The finding the insurance was the most difficult part. A lot of techs that from what I understand, that have a liability insurance is that they base it off of wherever their home ground is. When we went into this, I wanted to make sure I was assured in all the states, and it was significantly higher, but it's worth that peace of mind to me.
Definitely. Okay, so we've got 100% online and 100% in person. How do you guys work scheduling your weeks with both of you doing work, homeschooling for the kids, and also you're traveling for a reason, getting out and adventuring and exploring the places that you're at?
Really, it's not very difficult. He's very good at communicating kind of his estimated time on a job once he goes and assesses it. And then I can pretty much do mine whenever. So if it calls for me to do it in the morning before we start school with the kids, we can do that. I can do mine in the evenings. It's incredibly flexible. So it's not a specific time frame in which I have to have it done, which I love that flexibility. His, is a little more strict because he's not going to be working in the middle of the night. But honestly, in mine's, I probably spend, 2 to 3 hours a day on my business. So I can break it up into pieces and do it in segments if I need to. We also unschool, so we don't have a specific curriculum or online school that we do. So it's very eclectic. We pull together different resources. We kind of let the kids do a little bit of the child-led learning and whatever they're interested in at that time. We do a lot of field trips. And then we schedule our time pretty much around our outings. Sometimes his jobs will require more time. And he's had times where he's been, I can't do all the jobs I'm getting. People are calling. So, and then there's other times where it's like, okay, cool. We've got 3 or 4 days. Of course, 2 or 3 more will pop up at the same time. So we've been able to really work our work around our family and our outings, which again, that's why we do this life. Like you said, that's the priority. So for us to have things that are so flexible, it's been a really wonderful thing for this particular lifestyle because we can do it in the evenings or break it up into pieces. It's been really good.
What has been the hardest part for both of you from transitioning to being corporate careers, have to be in office from a certain amount of time to now you have all the freedom that you want to build into your day?
That's the problem. You don't have somebody telling you what to do. You got to do it for yourself.
She says that we don't have somebody telling us what to do.
I only tell the kids what to do. I don't tell you what to do. No, it just, the discipline of it, I think. And I think the first 6 months of this, it was like, wow, we are not on vacation. We have got to quit eating all of the s'mores. And it just, it gets out of control very quickly. So I think we kind of lived like vacation mode the first 6 months and then realized, okay, wow.
To realize it's a lifestyle because, the only way we ever camped before and took our rig out was 2-3 weeks at a time. And that was a 100% vacation. We had to kind of reassess the whole situation when we took off because we're hitting all these different things. We're going everywhere and we're doing this and that. And it was exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
So to say, okay, this is a life balance. We're completely mobile and we can go wherever we want, but we have to kind of structure it where we've got some time to still relax. It's like you get back from vacation, you're like, man, I need a couple more days off to recoup before I go back to work. So it's that life experiential balance in knowing that this is a lifestyle versus vacation all the time.
Yeah. Jared, what would you say the percentages of people that you work on their rigs are full-time versus just out for the weekend and happen to see you?
I would say the majority, probably 75%, are full-time. That has a lot to do with which areas we're in as well. Florida for the winter time, those people are either snowbirds or full-timers themselves.
Was that strategic where you're going to winter based off of, I guess, one, for living in your own RV, but also knowing that that's a high concentration of people that could be clients for work?
No, it's the weather.
Okay.
It worked out well, but we are nice weather chasers. We don't like it too hot. We don't like it too cold. We get stuck in all of it, but for the majority, we try to go to the warm months in winter and the cooler months in summer. Really, I think it's the length of time we stay more than anything.
That makes sense. The more you can get your name in a certain place, the more you're talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Sammi, do you have anybody on your team that is also full-time RVing?
I do, actually. Two of them I actually met on the road, and they were also brand new full-time RV families. One was looking for just product experience because she had all kinds of gut health issues. So I was happy to help her with that. And then I have another one who I actually met her, and the first thing she said was, yeah, we kind of sold everything, and now I'm just looking for something to do from the road. And I'm like, fabulous, I can help you with that. So I actually do have two very close friends that are full-time family travelers, RV families, and they are on my team. There's also some that are not on my team that I am friends with that are other full-time families, and then others that are in Plexus that I don't know as well, but I do know they travel full-time as well.
What's been the hardest part about working on the road?
Not having in-person events for me.
And if in an ideal world you could make that happen, Sammi, to meet your threshold of what you would ideally like, what would it look like?
Oh, I wish every place we went, I could have a big gathering of everybody in that 100-mile radius and just get everybody together, because we know so many virtually. I have friends that are on my team that have been with me for 6 or 7 years, and I still have yet to meet them in person. So just to have the opportunity to travel more to where they are and gather a big group every time we switch places would be amazing.
It seems like we used to do a lot of things in person. In the past 3 years, everything's virtual, and now people are starting to get, the pendulum is swinging back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Have you looked into having more large in-person gatherings at locations that you're going to be?
I have. I've started looking at that more. We are hoping to go out west for the remainder of the year. At some point, we're going to head that way. So I've kind of been looking around the areas we're going to be and who I have in those areas. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll be able to coordinate some stuff starting even as early as this fall. But yeah, I totally agree. I feel like it was in person. Then everybody get excited about virtual because they could stay at home in their pajamas. And I'm a huge pajama fan. But I do also miss, even as an introvert, I even miss the in-person contact.
She's a hugger.
I am a hugger. I miss hugs.
And what about you, Jared? What's been the hardest part about adjusting to working on the road?
The hardest part for me working on the road is it's normally without fail, jobs will pop up, and somebody has a deadline to be somewhere and we might have something scheduled. So you're not always able to schedule times on the road for repairs because there might be somebody, hey, they're due out of the park that day and they've got a slide out that won't come in. And it could be a 40-minute fix or it could be a 4+ hour fix.
And do you guys have any parameters or boundaries set up between the two of you to help you navigate those situations?
Just open communication, honestly.
Yeah, that's been the biggest thing for sure.
Hey, yeah, it's not looking good. Or this is going to take me a little bit longer. You guys go ahead without me type of situation.
Yeah, we try not to schedule outings on days we know he has a specific job to do. Also, if he's done the assessment on it and he's had to order a part, we know, it's got a couple days shipping or something to get to us. So we know, okay, when that comes in that day, we're not going to plan anything because he's going to have to do the install for that. So we're able to work around it pretty well. but we just have to definitely stay in communication. I'm all about calendars and paper and stuff. So I keep a lot of notes and try to keep a little bit of a general schedule of what's going on too, just so I can keep track of everything and know where we need to be when, if there's something going on.
And most of the time, people are open to a flexibility with their schedule if I can get to them within the day or so. It's only those few far in between, hey, emergencies, I got to go. We've got to be somewhere by tonight type of situations. And they're far and few between, but they can be frustrating.
It sounds like you guys have both built businesses that allow you to fulfill your own needs of getting out there, working on things, self-development, also providing for your family. What in the future does success look like for you and your family? Is it more of the same? Are there things that are going to be changing?
I really feel like we're going to do more. We definitely brainstorm a ton of different business ideas. I think we probably want to start 3 or 4 or 5 more different businesses. A big part of us too is giving back. We love traveling and finding new churches to visit. And that's been something we've really been thinking about, is what we can do to give back more for the communities that we're in while we're there. So definitely philanthropy of some kind, because really that's our favorite. Like, we love the income that both of these jobs have afforded us, and it's allowed us this lifestyle, but it's allowed us to give back more. And that's really, I think, lights both of our fires.
Right. And that was a huge, it was tough for me to start charging for services when I got my certification, started repairing rigs, is because it's just that help mentality and what I can do to help somebody else at the end of the day makes me better. At the same sense, you're running a business and you're paying for the certifications and all the other things. So it's kind of a must.
So how did you rectify that? What, other than just time and repeating it, was there anything that you did to kind of get that straight in your brain? Because I could see myself having the same problem of like, no, don't worry about it. Pay it forward. You can only do that so long before you start getting yourself into a hole.
Yeah. Number one, paying the insurances, paying for the certification, it's not going to pay for itself if I keep paying it forward, because it's just going to keep going out the door. But seeing my father do things that he does for people in the community and charge them $20 for 3 days worth of work, it kind of irks me. And I realize that, he's doing it to be a good person just for those people that don't have anything. But at the same sense of, either you know how to work on it, or you're going to have to pay somebody to fix it for you at some point. And if I can offer a super price on labor and help you in any way, shape, or form, then I'm going to do it at the best rate and make sure that you're taken care of for down the road.
I also remind him often that they're not just paying for him to come over and do a functional job. They're paying for his expertise and his education too, and what he brings to the table with that. And I know it's hard for him to do that. And it's funny because all the things he is smart at, I am not. So he's, oh yeah, did you check this, this, and this? And I'm like, I could have checked it for 3 hours, but he comes over and wiggles one little wire just the right way. And he's like, I can't charge for that. I'm like, I spent 3 hours already trying to figure it out. And you came over here because it makes sense to you.
Right.
That's your gift. That's your talent. You are very, very mechanically inclined. So the fact that you just saved me how many more hours and how many more frustration, I will pay you for that. Thank you. So I have to remind him of that a little bit, because it is still a service he's providing.
Sure.
That's a very good point, Sammi. And I think there's a lot of people out there that are mechanically inclined and enjoy working with their hands that probably need to hear that. So keep on them with that. That's a good reminder.
If I could give one piece of advice, if it's to somebody that is thinking about trying to find something that is going to create income for their family and they can go full-time RV for that, you don't have to have it all figured out before you launch. I know people that have just sold it all and hit the road, and then they're like, yeah, we'll just figure it out, when we start dwindling our account. And some people can do that. I am not one that can do that. I'm too much of a planner, as my husband's laughing at me. But if you can start with something, what I did was had something so we could hit the road. And then we were able to increase and supplement more because it gave Jared the time to find something. So if you can find one thing to do and hit the road, you'll be amazed at how many more other needs you'll see you can fill, how many more opportunities there are out there.
I definitely found that to be the case. I've got a list of things like, oh, if I wasn't doing this, or if I had more time, I could be doing this.
Mhm.
And you're right. The more you get out and the more you experience, the more holes you see, and different people with different skills and different geniuses fill different jobs. Because there's also a lot of things that holes I see that I'm like, there's a hole there. There's a way to fix it. I'm not the person to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I have disqualified myself from a few, but
Mhm.
yeah, it still exists. So it's out there for somebody.
And
Absolutely.
And 100%. There's that lifestyle, the collaboration, the talks with other people that you're close with, and you actually brainstorm these ideas together once you develop a relationship. And oh, well, I didn't even ever think about this, but it came
Mhm.
up because of a campfire and just conversations with friends and actually new acquaintances.
Well, this has been an awesome conversation. I really enjoy how the two of you have built your life to include businesses that play to both of your strengths, and then also incorporating that into your whole family unit. I think having the online presence with Sammy's business and the physical presence in the real world with Jared's mobile tech is really cool. And I like how you guys have blended it, and then it all allowing you to get out and experience the world and show your kids the country. If someone wanted to get a hold of you guys and ask more pointed questions, where's the best place that they could go to do that?
Anything for CC Mobile RV Repair. I'm on Facebook at CC Mobile RV Repair. Also online, ccmobilervrepair.com. I've got ways to be contacted at both those spots on that.
And for me, just Sammi Creach, SAMMI CREACH on Instagram. And then also my external website is sammicreach.com.
Awesome. Sammi, Jared, thanks for taking the time to be with me today.
Thank you.
Thanks,
We
Josh.
appreciate it. This was fun.
I hope you guys enjoyed that episode with Jared and Sammi. It's really cool, again, to see how they are balancing two opposite sides of the entrepreneurial coin. Sammy's business with Plexus being 100% online, Jared's being 100% in the real world, and based on where they are. And it's really cool to see everyone play into their different geniuses. Sammi said, her genius is not in fixing things or touching things. And Jared mentioned, I don't like charging people when all I do is wiggle a button. And I think it's really cool how Sammi pointed out that people are not paying you just for the actual physical work that you're doing. But remember, sometimes they're paying you for your experience, for your expertise, for your knowledge. And I think that's a big thing that I took away from this episode as well, is I'm very much along the lines of what Jared is thinking of, like, I don't need to charge somebody for that. Just pay it forward, pay it on to the next person. But when you have a business, an RV mobile technician business, you got to pay the bills. You got to pay for those insurances and all the different certifications. And people don't know what they don't know. They don't have the expertise, so they're hiring you to come fix it. It doesn't matter if it was a simple fix. They don't have the expertise to do it themselves. So I thought that was really cool and a good reframe. It was good for me to hear in my own ears. If you guys want to connect with Jared and Sammi, I'll make sure to put links to all of their businesses down in the show notes of this episode. And if you'd like to talk more about different RV businesses, either digital or in person, jump on over to our Facebook group, the RVentrepreneur.com/Facebook. You connect with other RV entrepreneurs, either on the road, getting on the road, or have been on the road. And there's a lot of different perspectives and experiences that people in that group can provide if you have any questions or want to start a conversation. Again, don't forget to sign up for the RV Entrepreneur Roundtable, September 7th through 11th in Montrose, Colorado. The RVentrepreneur.com/summit will take you there to grab tickets and gather any additional information you could want. With that, I'll see you on the next one.